Hello and welcome to this video. I've been sent this box by Yonex. Now I say I've been sent it, I asked Yonex to send it to me. I'm not that good. Now, why have I got this box? Well, it's been 4 years since I changed my racket. If you've been following our videos, and particularly you've seen my road to nationals, you might know I use the lovely Astrox 100 ZZ. And it's been a fantastic racket for whilst I've been playing a lot of singles. I really like it and I would definitely recommend it to a lot of you. But this racket is super head heavy. It's very much driven towards singles players, which I've been doing a lot of. That's why I like using it. But I really wanted to change. I'm going to be playing a bit more doubles. When I've been doing some doubles training with this, it really takes its toll on my forearm and my wrist. It's so head heavy. So when you're in those fast drives or defending, it can be really difficult. Which is why I've asked Yonex to send me this. These are going to be my new rackets going forward. I'm super excited to use them. So should we open up and have a look?
A few minutes later. 1 hour later.
And the big reveal. Take all the coverings off. We have got the Nanoflare 700 Pro. Now, for those who watch a lot of our channel, you'll know we've done a review on this a few months ago. And when I was testing it out back then, I really liked it. It is as far away from the Astrox 100 ZZ as you can get. It is head light, it's got a medium flex, and it just feels so light in my hand compared to the Astrox. So I am super excited to start using these. Yonex have really kindly sent me 3, which will really help me when I'm starting to play a little more doubles now, and more on that soon. So first things first, we need to get this racket ready to play with. So 1, we need to string it, and 2, we're going to change our grip. Let's get into it. So we are done and we're ready to go with the racket. We strung it up nice and tight, around 30 pounds. I typically play with 30 to 32. And we've put some BG80 in here. Now I like BG80 or 66 Ultimax, but with BG80 you just get a little bit more durability, which is what I'm looking for at the moment. Then we've put a nice grip on it, favorite color, orange. And you might have noticed I've put some sort of cushioning underneath this grip. The reason why I do that is I like to use one over grip, and sometimes that feels a bit thin and a bit hard with that wood underneath. And this cushioning just adds that bit of softness to the grip, feels a bit spongy, and I really like the feel of that, and you can get it off any badminton store. So what we've got to do now is go and give it a good test. I'm really excited about this, and what we're actually going to do is we've got 3 other Yonex rackets that are typically used for doubles, and we're going to compare all 4 really, and just see where you're going to get the benefit of each racket depending on its specifications. So let's get into it. So I'm here at the badminton hall with my Nanoflare 700, and we're going to give it a really good test. But first things first, we need something to test it alongside, and this is where Dean comes in.
So I have 3 of the other top of the range Yonex rackets for us to test alongside it. So we have the Yonex Nanoflare 1000 Tour, the Yonex Astrox 88D Pro, and the Yonex Arcsaber 11 Pro.
So what we're going to do is both of us are going to be testing all 4 rackets, doing different exercises you typically do, mostly focused around doubles, and we're going to see what we think of it. So we're starting with a bit of defense with my Nanoflare 700 Pro. Now this is where I was really struggling. Ooh, just hitting the shuttle back.
That would look good. We'll carry on.
Now this is where I was really struggling with my old Astrox, because it's just so head heavy that I felt I just couldn't get through the shuttle very well. And I was also tiring really quickly with my wrist and forearm. and instantly it just feels so light in comparison, and I've got so much time to just move my racket and hit this shuttle, which is really what I was hoping to see.
So I'm using my Astrox 88D Pro racket. Now, not typically necessarily known for its defense, a little bit more head heavy and stiff, but as I'm more of an attacking player, I'm quite happy to sacrifice maybe a little bit more of responsiveness in defense to gain the attack that I need in the mid-court and the rear court. But for me, still quite happy defending with this slight head heavy racket.
Now I've moved on to the Nanoflare 1000 Tour. So the racket I have never used before, but this is the most similar to my new Nanoflare 700 Pro because of its headlight, and obviously it's in the same category. But instantly, I can feel this is a lot stiffer. Not getting that easy natural whip, you're having to create it a bit more yourself. Now this is a bit more designed for a high level player because you're having to create the whip of your racket yourself. You're not getting that easy flex that's going to help create that power. So it does feel nice. It feels more like my old Astrox, which was very stiff, but definitely a racket that is good on defense, but if you can still create that speed for your wrist.
So I've now moved on to that Arcsaber 11 Pro, a racket that I've never actually used before. For me, it feels a lot lighter than my normal 88D Pro, and a little bit more balanced, but it feels quite light, quite responsive, particularly in defense. And certainly having no issue defending here with this racket.
So moving on to a bit of mid-rear now, and I've got the Astrox 88D Pro here, which is where this racket should excel a bit more because of that more head-heavy design. So getting more power easily for overhead, which I definitely am. It's a lot more like my Astrox 100. It feels really nice. But once again, another racket where it's a bit stiffer, so you're having to generate that whip a bit more yourself. If you're a player who can do that, it's going to be great for you. If you're someone maybe struggles, might be looking for something a bit more flexible.
So I'm now onto the Nanoflare 700 Pro, and this is quite a big change for me compared to what I normally use, the 88D Pro, a lot lighter. It feels a bit harder overhead for me, but I like the responsiveness in the mid-court. Very whippy, very quick to get ready. They're still fine from the rear court, but maybe not able to generate maybe the same power as I normally would do with the slighter, head heavier racket.
And now the Arcsaber 11 Pro. Now this feels the most different of all the rackets because it's right in between. It doesn't feel super head light and it doesn't feel head heavy, as it should. It's right in the middle, even balanced. But that feels like it's going to do pretty well in both areas when I'm hitting hard from the back, but then also trying to control the shuttle from the mid-court. So it does feel nice, and I can see it's being a good racket for sort of any type of player. And I believe the Arcsaber 11 is actually one of the most sold rackets ever for Yonex. So you're never really going to go wrong with this.
And finally, the Nanoflare 1000 Tour. Stiff shaft, similar to what I've been used to using, but a little bit more headlight. So again, quite responsive on the prep in the mid-court and the racket carriage. Overhead, nice amount of power. Cool, that's a cracking drive, sorry David. It's very good in the mid-court. But a very good racket for using for doubles. And obviously broke the world record recently with Racket ready for smash power. So again, can't argue with what it can do overhead or in the mid-court.
So moving on to a bit more around the net now. Now, obviously a really important area for any doubles-based racket. And this is where I was really hoping this racket would massively help me, and it does. It feels so light around the net. I can just move it anywhere. Yes, maybe it's going to take a bit of time to get used to not feeling that head heaviness when I'm playing my net shots and pushing through the shuttle, but I feel like this racket can just naturally stay up really easy and feels really good in this area.
So I'm also using my normal racket here, the Astrox 88D Pro. Now, not necessarily typically known too much as a net racket, more for power with that stiff shaft and generating shots in the back of the court. But for me, always comfortable using my own racket and don't feel like it's necessarily impacting me at the net. But also I can't say as a player, I'm necessarily here too much. I'm still very much rear court dominated.
Now I've got the Nanoflare 100 Tour again here, and this is where you'd expect that slightly stiffer shaft to give you a bit more control. Okay, and it does feel like I've got a bit more,
Oh, nice.
that racket's staying a lot more solid through my shots, which it should give you a bit more control around your net shots, but it's not gonna make a massive difference. So a lot of these shots are so much about feel. So as long as that racket feels good when you're coming through the shot, you're in for a winner, which that was not.
So for me, back onto the Arcsaber 11 Pro. Again, racket I'm reasonably unfamiliar with. Definitely a lot lighter, I feel, than my 88D Pro. And again, quite responsive. Nice control, nice balance. And the racket is definitely looking like it's perfectly capable in and around the net. And maybe with its being more of a balanced racket, can definitely be used maybe a little bit more singles and doubles, a bit more of a neutral racket between the two events.
So it's been good fun testing out my new Nanoflare 700 Pro. Got to say, it was very different to obviously the Astrox 100ZZ I used to use, and you can feel that, but I'm really liking how it's working out on the doubles court. Like I said, I'm going to be playing a bit more doubles, so I'm really wanting something that's going to help me and improve my game there, and that's definitely going to be doing that.
So we've been very fortunate today to try a mixture of Yonex rackets, but make sure when you're buying a racket for yourself that it's the one that works for you rather than the one that other people use and maybe the most expensive.